Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kali.alexandria. So happy I have you guys here today with me. So today I'm going to be talking about how I trained and my tips for running a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles. You guys probably know, but I ran my first half marathon in 2016. So wow, 4 years ago now. Wow. It's a long time coming to make this video, and I definitely thought I would make this video eventually. I don't know why I haven't made this like 3 years ago, I guess, but I kind of was thinking about it because I really want to post more fitness and health stuff, and I kind of want to make that like what I post on this channel. So I figured this would be a great video to do because it has to do with health and fitness. So I thought this would be a good video to do. But if you guys aren't already subscribed to my channel, because I post videos Wednesdays and Sundays for health tips and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you guys are interested, then make sure you subscribe to my channel, give this video a like if it helps you, or if you're training for a marathon, let me know where you guys are signed up down below. And yeah, give me all the details because I want to know, and I'm thinking about doing another one really soon. I just graduated college, so I kind of was a little bit too busy when I was finishing up school. So I'm like, you know, I have some time now, and it's something that I want to do. And eventually I might want to run a full marathon, 26.2 miles. Crazy. If you guys have done that, please let me know as well, because that is like a whole nother beast. So I don't know, we'll see how this year goes, how this next year goes, and see if I sign up. But yeah, so I'm excited to be talking about my tips that I have learned throughout my training and during the race, after the race. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's just get right into the tips. Okay, so I have my notes here, and the first thing I wanted to talk about, and like I said just previously, I ran my first half marathon in 2016 at the end of the year, and I ran the October race, and I ran it in St. Louis, Missouri, because that is kind of where I'm located, just a little bit outside of the city. And it was such a good experience. I was always really active growing up. I played soccer, I played basketball, I played volleyball, so I was already pretty fit from that point. But yeah, randomly, I'm pretty sure like that year I was like, I'm gonna run a half marathon. Like, my dad has ran a half marathon, my sister is currently training for one at the moment, and I think that's what gave me the inspo to do this video finally. But yeah, and I just kind of always wanted to do it. So I actually had a friend, now it's probably an ex-friend, but I had this friend, and she kind of told me that I'd never be able to run a half marathon. Really random, I don't know, but yeah, so that kind of got me motivated. And again, like, you don't need that negativity in your life. So if you have somebody in your life telling you you can't, ditch them, because that is absolutely ridiculous as I think back on it now. So yeah, that's just like a little bit of the backstory, but I wanted to prove her wrong, I guess. So, you know, I ran a half marathon and I did great. So the first tip I want to give you guys, and this is probably the most important tip, is to invest in good running shoes. So the nice thing about local running companies is that usually they will fit you for a shoe, and they know like everything about running shoes and the good companies, and typically they're runners as well, so they have good tips for you, especially if you're a beginner runner. But always get good running shoes, and if you get anything out of this video is to invest in running shoes. I'm pretty sure I paid like $150 for mine, maybe $200 tops, I can't remember. But yeah, it's so important because you're doing all that mileage and you need to protect your feet. And honestly, you don't want to be wearing like the traditional Nike shoe that you buy for like $80. You need to actually buy shoes that are meant for runners. And my shoes, I remember they were blue, they were really bright, and I'm pretty sure I still have them. But for me, I noticed after, and I wish I probably would have done something about it sooner, but mine were pretty big and bulky. They were not light by any means, so I just really had to get used to the bulkiness of the shoe. Like, I need to see if I have them. Okay, yeah, I don't know where they are, but I'm pretty sure they're in this house somewhere. But honestly, like, just make sure you train in those running shoes, like from the start if you can, or for a few weeks, because you want to get used to your shoes. You don't want to get blisters the day of the race, so make sure you train in those running shoes that you get. And my advice to you is try not to get them kind of big and bulky. Like mine was a big shoe. So yeah, that was probably my one regret, because I just felt like my feet were so heavy when I was on my long runs. So that's a good tip that you guys should take away from this. My next tip is to actually run in the outfit that you think you're going to be wearing for the race. So the importance of this is so you don't have shorts that are going to ride up and irritate you. So it's important to try out the outfit that you're going to wear on those long runs when you're training before the race, because you don't want any new surprises whenever you're actually doing the race on race day. So the next tip is to obviously find a good training plan, and my recommendation to you is to not try to speed up the training plan. So for example, if you realize that you want to sign up for this half marathon that's like 2 months from now, I would say if you're a beginner, I wouldn't do that. I'd give yourself enough time to train, and I'm pretty sure the recommended training from beginner is like 12 weeks for like the program, and I can't remember which program I did, but I'll link one down below if I find it so that you guys could check it out. But a lot of them are really great, like the 12-week plan. That is what I did, and I had already been running before that, but I wasn't like any expert professional runner by any means. But if you're a beginner, then like the 12-week program, highly recommend. But if you guys know that you're gonna run a half marathon that's more than 12 weeks, I would definitely recommend trying to exercise and work out and just try to prep yourself for the time whenever you're strict in training. So this is a good one because you need to be running inside and you need to be running outside. So if you're not a treadmill runner, you definitely don't need to run on the treadmill. But for me, like I think the time when I was training, it was so hot outside that it was hard to do workouts outside all the time, so I would run inside and outside. But if you're only running inside on a treadmill, try to take your run outside if you can, because you need to like get in the actual environment of what the race is going to be like. So my next tip is to try to find your race pace. So however long it takes you to run a mile, that is what you're going to stick with throughout that whole race. And if you want to be faster, then great, but I was just happy to complete it. This was a big milestone. This was a big goal of mine. So I wasn't wanting to run like super fast. For me, I'm pretty sure I ran 10-minute miles, and that was fine for me throughout the whole 13 miles. So I just recommend to try to find like a good pace for you. So the next thing is obviously running is such a mind over matter thing. Your mind literally tells your body things, and if you're thinking negative thoughts, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I can't complete this, the reality is you probably won't complete it. So just know that you can do it. People do this all the time, and you can do anything that they can do. So just tell your mind and your body that you can do it. The next thing is to know where you are going to be running the race and try to run that route or like a similar route, because if there's hills during the actual race and you haven't exactly trained hills, that can be extremely difficult. Even the smallest hill you're going to notice is going to have such a big impact on you during that day and doing all of that mileage. So I know a lot of programs actually recommend this, but this is just cross train. So what I mean by that is obviously you're going to be training, you're going to be running, and that is going to be your sole focus. But on the days where you're not running those like long runs, it's important to cross train. So whether that's swimming in a swimming pool or doing some weights or just doing different workouts, it's important to like get your body going with that stamina of different workouts than just running. So for this tip, I personally did not do this because I don't really enjoy running in groups, but if you're that kind of person who wants the accountability, then I would try to find a running group. And I feel like there's a lot of different running groups that you can be a part of if there's like a big race in your city. So look into that, Google search that. But I personally did not do that. I didn't really want a running partner. It was just me. I was doing this, so I didn't really want that. So the next tip is kind of funny, but you actually have to rest and not overdo it. I know you're training for this 13-mile race, but it's important to actually rest too, because you gotta let your muscles recover, especially from those long runs. And I know a lot of the training programs, they incorporate rest days, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, make sure you guys are resting. And you know, some days it's really hard to get up in the morning knowing that you got to run 8 miles that day, and sometimes you want to skip it, and sometimes it's fine to like switch the days out, but make sure you're not like just skipping the important runs. Okay, this next one can be like a whole video in itself, but that is food. So like I said, with the workout clothing, you don't want to try any new foods the day of the race. So everything you eat the day prior, the day of the race, make sure you have eaten that before your long runs previously. So yeah, you don't want to try something new because you could risk maybe like getting sick during the race, throwing up, that kind of thing. So honestly, the reality is that you need the carbs to fuel your body, and a lot of people underestimate this because when you're running so many miles, your body is burning so many calories that they get confused why they're hungry all the time. But for me, I was hungry a lot because, you know, you're burning like 5, 6, 7, 1,000 calories a day sometimes, which that is a lot compared to like the normal person who like works out at a gym. So just keep in mind that you will be hungry quite a bit. Okay, so this next tip is talking a little bit more about drinking water. So they pretty much say that drinking water is probably fine up until like 60 minutes of you running, but then after that they say to really nourish your body with electrolytes. And I know a lot of races are different, but for me, my race, they would stand, like people would stand on the sideline and give you like Gatorade and water. And just be careful with what the people are giving you, because I know for me during my race, I was like on mile 8 and I'm like, okay, I need some Gatorade or something. And I grabbed a Gatorade and it was a color I wasn't used to. As weird and as small as this sounds, it actually messed like my whole body up, and like the taste, I could not get it out of my mouth. So make sure you guys, you know, again, eat and drink what you're gonna eat and drink during race day, because it is so important, or your body is gonna like go into shock and be like, what did you just give me? Like I literally felt like I was going to get sick the rest of the race just from drinking the Gatorade that I wasn't used to. So my next thing is pace. So during race day, there's going to be so many people and so many different paces, and it's easy to really get caught up in other people kind of starting out from the gate super quick. But remember, you have 13 miles to cover, so don't get caught up on the first 2 miles, because if you start out too fast that you're not normally used to, you're going to crash. So start off the normal pace you would normally start off of, and people are going to be passing you, you're going to be passing people, so do not worry. Remember, it's about you. Okay, so another tip that I can give you guys is whenever you're doing your long runs during your training, what I would do is go to a bike trail, and I would go where like the street intercepts the bike trail like every like 3-4 miles, and leave some water there. And I would always bring a Starburst with me as well, because I would need that like extra burst of sugar and energy. So that was super important. But I know nowadays people wear like the water bottle belts where you can keep things. So yeah, I think you can just do that. But whenever you're running like 8-10 miles during your training, I would try to recommend like stopping or like passing a place where you know you can put water there. So that is just what I did. Next thing, obviously, get a good running playlist going. That is going to be everything, or like a podcast, listen to a show, something like that. Oh, and the next tip is try to make sure you've run at least 10 miles before the actual race day. So I know a lot of people say this, and you know, you don't want to be skipping those super important runs, but it's just important to make sure you've ran at least 10 miles before the day. Okay, so this next tip is the best. So the night before the race, it was the most memorable and the best night, because you are so excited, your adrenaline's going, you might be a little nervous, but It is so important to kind of carb load the night before the race because your body is like sucking up that energy and you're gonna need that. So what I did is I went to an Italian restaurant, ate all the pasta, ate all the breadsticks, and just be careful with this because you don't want to overdo it. But that was just like something I remember so well, and it was like one of my favorite parts because I was able to just like eat everything and like I knew I was gonna burn it off. It was the best.